Hello, welcome to another weekly live stream. Tonight we'll be doing some creative stuff because now that we've got the new material, I'd like to create some desert buildings so that any towns that generate in the desert don't have, lots of wood and wattle and daub and stuff because it doesn't look right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and set the scene here. There are my superheroes and heroes and things, which are the patrons that help me keep the lights on and keep my servers running and stuff. Always appreciated. Hey everybody, hey Neo Indie Developer, and hey Max Isrin. Welcome to the chat. Let me move this down here, open my little pop-up. Yeah, this week has been a wholly unproductive week because the machine I was using to develop the website on decided, hey Romcram, decided that it was going to the new hard drive I put in started showing errors, although I didn't realize that's what was happening at first until I started to dig in. So it was like a day of figuring that out, and then I set a check disk running, and the check disk took 4 days to run, and so when it finished and it repaired all the bad sectors and stuff, but then when I rebooted, the drive was just dead. Now it's dead. Check disk killed it finally. And this is a new drive, so, but it's in the same slot of the computer as the last drive that went bad. And so now I'm wondering if it's just a heat problem for that portion of the case or something. And so I'm gonna, it's the second drive on the system, so it's not a big loss. I was able to get most of the data off anyway, and there was nothing irreplaceable there really. Just all of the my Linux VM that I had set up to do the website development was on there, and that had like all of the, the keys and stuff for logging into the place. So I just got to relook all that stuff up and set it up again, which is a pain. Anyway, so today we're going to be building. We're going to be making buildings for desert towns, and so I had to search around and find a town in the desert. So I found a world 145. That's got a town in the desert, because by the end of the live stream I'd like to be able to see some of them in a town. So I wanted to find a town, so that's what I've been doing for like the last hour, and so it's not clear to me if we regenerated this world, if it would still have this town. So I'm going to I've marked the location, have I? Yes, I have marked the location on a piece of paper, old-fashioned way. And what I'm going to do is, we'll go ahead and exit out just to make sure everything's reset. And then we'll generate a world from scratch. And then we'll know if that desert town still generates there, we'll know it's a good seed. Because the towns don't normally generate in the desert. Yeah, so that's the 145 desert world. Maybe I just don't need to create a new. Yes, I've started collecting desert worlds, so we'll create a new one. Call it Desert 2 145, and it is seed 145 if you want to play along at home. So we can preview it, and now it should actually, yeah. So there's a big old desert right here. So it'll actually be maybe more than one desert town, because the seed I've been using that has like a vast desert, the desert takes up like a good deal of the map. It's really nice in that the desert is really big, but it also towns don't normally generate in deserts because they're not conducive to that. But when you have like a coastline here, that bumps the algorithm up, and it's more likely to generate towns along a coastline. So even if there's a desert there, chances are there'd be a shipping port or something there, I guess, is what the algorithm is considering. Anyway, we should get this started generating while I'm jibber jabbering. Yeah, so the website's not done yet. In fact, it's going to take me a bit to get that. It's all checked in. All the stuff I did before is all checked in to Git, so it's not lost. I just have to build a new VM and reset it up so that I can push it to the website. And then I can continue developing that, and we'll get the new public site up. But you know, in the description of this video should be the link to where you can download the latest version of the game, which was released in July, beginning of July. I was going to try to release another one at the end of the month with some of this new materials and stuff, but because that's my birthday, July 31st. But the I'm also going on a vacation like the very day after. So when you're creating a character, it pays to stay in this screen for a little while because you can see the world is generating while we're in here. So the longer we spend in here, the more world will be generated. So it's good to go ahead and pick out some clothes for your character. I think I want to give her the shirt vest. It seems like good desert attire. We can then remove her burlap shirt. Unfortunately, these are the only shorts that are coming. Every time you talk about your generation algorithm, I get impressed more, considering coastlines and deserts for town generation. Yeah. So, yeah, and the current one is mostly random, but it does prefer to generate near coastlines. When rivers generate, they'll prefer to generate near river mouths and along rivers and things like that. So there's a it's not fully engaged in this version of the engine, but I have lots of videos about that stuff. But it essentially plots like a low resolution version of the world and then looks for like right now there's no geology, so there are no mineral veins or mineral rich areas, so it looks for things like cliffs and stuff to decide that's probably where a mine would be good to do, is on cliffs, because chances are this level technology they won't dig very deep, and so they're looking for minerals that are on cliff faces and things. And so looks for good ports, places where the land meets the sea and the sea gets really deep there rather than like lots of shallows. The full version actually knows the difference between inner waterways like little lakes and stuff versus wide oceans, and eventually plot roads and sea routes and air routes and things. There's a bunch of videos about that from early in the live stream series where I was showing some of the prototyping of that. A bunch of things have to happen in the world generation before I can start working on that again, but the town placement here is weighted towards coastlines, and it tries not to generate them too close together, and it doesn't like to generate. Basically, it looks at the sort of the climate for the area to decide. So you won't get a whole lot of towns generating in the desert or in the vast, snowy wastelands either. Anyway, let's finish dressing our character. Pants with belt, let's do that. And if she's gonna wear pants with belts, let's wear cuffed boots, because I like the look of those best. And probably metal bracers instead of leather. Yeah, and she's got a decent enough tan, that's fine. So let's save and continue. Let's play. Yeah, so it's still generating. I don't want to spend too much time doing this because we can get lost in the building creation and never actually get to seeing it in the game, but I got an itch under my ear here. Okay. But since I was working on this when we started, and it leads naturally into the when will desert towns appear sort of thing. It's really based on plotting a town there, and if the climate, right now the town generation is just really random. Like I talked, there's a minimum amount of rhyme and reason to it right now. But let me, when this starts to res in a little bit, we'll get a better map, because if I bring up the map right now, it's going to, let's try to bring up the map. There we go. See, it's not, like as the world loads in, it will fill in this map. It goes extra slow while I'm running the live stream. Hopefully we don't crash this computer, because after I blue screened in the middle of a live stream that one time, I set up OBS running on a separate computer. so that if this one dies, I can real quickly switch over to there and start the stream again to make sure the stream stays up. But OBS is hung over there because that bad hard drive is still in there, and anything that tries to access it then gets hung for half hour to 45 minutes. Yeah, so like if we enable the markers cheat, you can see all of the different points of interest that it generates, and this is just what's in view here. And so if we zoom in, there's a just rudimentary don't make things too close sort of thing, so that there's these like isolated points of interest which will only appear, if there's nothing else around. So just like in the middle of nowhere. And so it first finds where like good place for towns should be, and then good places for villages, and so on and so forth. But let's go ahead and disable the markers cheat. Well, anyway, once you've enabled it, it's kind of always there. But all right, what we want to do is warp over to that location that I recorded and see if there's a town there, which is -39,262, and I think it was like 170, or at least 170, minus 31,325. So we cover a lot of distance in Mythruna. All right, let's see where that jumps us. Way over here, and there is a town here. Cool. Sometimes when I load old worlds, and it's not clear how old this world is, sometimes when I load old worlds, the generation algorithm has changed enough that the town won't generate in the same location anymore. So before I go basing, a new town set of buildings, it's good to verify that we would actually generate a yeah, so see still loading and all that far stuff. Yeah. Let me wait till this loads a little bit, and then we'll scan around and look at what the surrounding terrain looks like. It's cool because we've got a lot of like plateaus and things over here. I can tell from how the land is chopped up that these are plateaus. One of the cellular fractals that generates that stuff. Yeah, it goes all the way up through here too. So all of this like regular landmass with like plateaus. Sometimes the ones in the water are really cool because there'll be ones under the water. Aren't above or below the ground. Oh, these are these huts are supposed to generate in the ground. They're supposed to be half in-ground huts. In general, they can generate above, but they're allowed to generate just slightly lower because they're supposed to be like if you if these are what you're talking about. If you're talking about something else, then please let me know. But if these are what you're talking about, they're supposed to generate in the ground like this because the idea being that if you were to build a house in these particular environments, you might start by digging a hole and sort of like rounding out the hole and then building the structure on top. In fact, we'll have desert versions of this because I very much like the, just roof sticking up above the desert lines. But these were designed for also marshy places and things, or not necessarily marshy places, but villages will use these a lot because I figured village buildings would be lower tech. They've dug a hole out of the ground and then kind of built a roof above it. So that's what these are, if that's what you were talking about. All the other big buildings will be above ground. Yeah, so you get like it will never cover up the window, for example. The window will always be visible because usually that's near where the fireplace is. And there's oh yeah, this one even has a chimney, so slightly more advanced. But yeah, and they'll look better. I think the desert versions will look better. Yeah, so this is a window that it didn't generate snow or sand right next to it, but it might as well have. So it's not real great. there's no pathing algorithm to make sure that doorways are accessible to the to walking. So when this towns are purely random right now, I mean it just basically scatters the buildings around anywhere that's flat. But when there's roads and a rhyme or reason to the towns, the buildings will face the roads, and there will be paths to all the doors and things, and so this kind of thing won't happen. Also, the fields will be, the fallow or unplanted fields will do a little better. Oh, we got a cemetery. Cemetery not far from the gallows. That's good. Always good to have the cemetery close to the gallows. So anyway, yeah, it's a little desert town, fully loaded. So let's just pop up in the air and look around. It's also getting to be later in the evening here in this particular world, so it's good. Yeah, so we've got real bright over there. So that's lots of desert in that direction, which is, yeah, down here is all desert. So you go get lost in there, and there's a little canyon right here. Yeah, a couple farms. I don't know how well they do out here, but they're close to the ocean, so potentially Mythrunians have some way of watering their crops from salt water. So who knows? All right, so let's get to making buildings. There's one other thing I want to do before we get started with that. So yeah, my nose is itching, of course, because we're on the live stream. So one of the things is, like with the cobblestone. Actually, I'll show you. No, block set. Gradle run. Block it. So I could talk about some of those. The reason I make certain block types have a limited number of shapes. Maybe. That's not a horrible idea. But given that there's sort of latent magical systems in the world, like the people don't really know how to use them, and sometimes they can't even activate them, because at least the original conceit of Mythruna was that as like characters joining this world from somewhere else, we have extra magic that we bring, and we can activate magic devices that the native residents cannot. But that's kind of like limiting story-wise, because it'd be really kind of fun if you came upon a school of wizards who can do magic and stuff. And so I think probably all of these worlds have been visited by your kind for some time, and so potentially there's some genetic lines that have a little bit of the magic activation stuff, and certainly anything that's already activated would work. Wands that are already charged up and stuff, but maybe they don't have the ability to recharge them or stuff to that effect. At any rate, it's possible that there's sort of desalinization magic, that some kind of magic artifact or mechanical system. They do have steam power. They do have stuff like that, so potentially they've worked it out. I kind of like the idea of having, steam condensers and things to extract the water from the ocean using heat. And I have ideas for other ways to capture, because I don't want to get too much into it. I have a lot of ideas. I don't know which ones I'll get to implement. Anyway, we're talking about something else at the moment. So like the cobble has a limited number of shapes, because the idea being that cobble being yep, right, similar idea, right? So like cobble is being a stacked medium like this. It intentionally does not have inverted wedges, because the idea was that if you wanted to have architecture that had inverted wedges, then you would have to skip over to something like stone, which would have an inverted wedge that you could attach, because I think it makes the architecture more interesting if you can't have inverted stuff. It encourages you to kind of think about it a little bit and leads to more interesting designs. Plus, like if we see the wedges that Cobble does have, like these wedges, you can see the textures don't line up great for the angles and stuff. It's okay, but that kind of stuff annoys me. So I try to avoid it, and sort of the inverted one looks even worse to me because it's, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's the optical illusion. It just looks worse. So anyway, for the new block type we just created, which was the clay brick, it similarly only has basically it's just a re-skinning of the cobble, so it has the same shapes as the cobble, which means if you wanted to make a similar structure, you know, if you wanted to have a inverted wedge here, you'd have to move over to some other stone type. And I want to use the, there is a sandstone, but the sandstone has not been built out into a fully shaped material yet. So, and it's not, I want to fix the color too. I'm not really happy with the color of the sandstone. But that's not something we'll do today. But I want it to be lighter and more pink, I think. Yeah, there's a bunch of these stone types that I put in because the World Fractal supports, for the far terrain visualization, the World Fractal supports like a bunch of different stone types, and so I wanted to actually have at least the base blocks for those in case the generation gets to the point where it's generating different types of stone around different parts of the world. So there's like stone, let's just go through them all. So I think, I don't remember if black marble, there is a dark granite. It's another one that doesn't have any other shapes yet. What are the other ones? There's like a so sandstone, which we've already looked at, and I thought there was a what you call it, the chalk. No, maybe not, or talc. I thought there was a white stone, but maybe I got rid of that because it was too hard to make it look not like snow or sand, which are already pretty close from a distance. At any rate, the point being, eventually there'll be different types of stone that I guess I thought there was a black one too, but those are they're not fully fleshed out stone cubes, but I'm going to fully flesh out the sandstone worm really quick just so that we can use that in our architectures here, because I think it would be the most appropriate stone to find in the desert. Okay, so let's run the shaper real quick. And what we will do is make a reskin of stone to make sandstone. Eventually these will not be like separate types like this. They'll be a subtype. I just haven't refactored the materials to deal with subtypes yet. But there's a lot about the stones, the different kinds of stone that basically behave the same, and there'll be different types of wood too, and they behave the same in a lot of ways. But we'll have like a subtype that decides like what actual set of textures to use for them, because in the long run it'll save me block types. What I want, so I just find the stone. I think we've got stone here, yeah. So we just go stone, and we say create a reskin of stone, new base sand, stone, and then we map it all over to sandstone. In a way, I'm creating more of a problem for myself by doing this, because every single one of these real types that are separate stones that I want to merge together into subtypes of a one stone block type, they're going to create me problems later, or they're going to add on to the problem. So they're add on to the problems I already have. It's not creating any more work for me. These are all already a problem. Um, and so now we should have all of the different types for sandstone. If we scroll all the way to the bottom, yeah, so we've got all the sandstone. So when I deal with that, merging them all back together, I've already got other things I need to merge back together, so these are just what they are. And so we have to find the original sandstone cube and delete it. Again, a search function would be nice here. I have maybe one of these live streams I can work on some quality of life things for the tools. So a couple things I want to add. I want to add like a search function here. To the block editor, I want to have the ability to place like custom attributes around. So like you could put little markers around. I'll explain why in a second. Okay, I gotta remember what I'm doing here. Sandstone. Come on. There it is. Yeah, so sandstone and dark granite must be the only stones I added that aren't. Anyway, so we'll delete this one. Sandstone at 1. Okay. And why am I still here then? Oh, it put me back over here. What's the motivation for merging the different types of blocks into categories? That's a good question. Mostly to save on block types, and eventually there'll be subtypes for things like different colors of wood, like painted. I think I've reserved. I can't remember how many bits I've reserved for this. They're already in sort of the block type, but from a. So eventually the materials will get combined in such a way so that there's a texture array for all of the similar materials, and so then I can have one material. So right now every block type, every texture is its own material, and it would be nice if I could make all of a certain type of texture, like all of the stone, one material that gets merged into one big geometry. But then internally knows which of the texture array textures it should create. Anyway, so it's not a big motivation. I'm not doing it soon, but I keep it in the back of my mind that eventually I'll do that. And that's how I'm going to handle like painted surfaces. I think actually painted surfaces are another weird one. Why didn't it delete this? Yeah, it didn't delete this. And now I'm concerned. So let me move page up, page down. Like, I deleted it. Delete block type. Oh, now it deleted it. What did I do before then? I'm concerned. You know what? I'm going to do this a different way. Because before I save it, wow, we're already 30 minutes in. I haven't actually started what I'm going to do today. The block type database is serious enough that I need to do this right. So what I'll do, I just want to make sure I don't accidentally delete something that's supposed to stay around. So at least we know it's right after the corn, which should be easier to spot. There we go. So what I'll do is take this and I'll move it to the bottom. Okay, so now when we go to stone and create our reskin, create the reskin, new basis, sandstone. Yeah, there's the apple material that we're not using for anything. Sandstone, that's what we're doing. So we'll map that to sandstone, we'll create the reskin. Alright, and so now down here at the bottom, we've got all these new sandstone materials, and we should have two cubes right next to each other. Yep. And so this cube, just confirming, yeah, so this one still says stone. Technically, I need to go through and change all of these to sandstone for the substance names. But I figure you guys would probably revolt if I sat there and did this during the live stream. So I'm going to, I think I'll delete the one that's wrong. So we'll just delete this block type. So now we should have just the one cube. Yep. Okay, cool. So we save the blocks, save the fluids just in case, compile blocks, compile materials. Yeah, painting is a weird one. I want to be able to paint, but I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet. So it's probably best I don't lump that into subtypes. But you know, just for wood and things that are largely the materials are going to behave the same way, and so it would be neat to be able to merge them all into one geometry that the texture is selected by a subtype. Like the strategy for how they allocate their texture coordinates, any kind of dirt that appears on them, that kind of thing. It's all going to be the same. Anyway, so let's now run blockhead and make some building parts. Oh, I wanted to I had some buildings. So in the Moss libraries, there's a demo, a terrain demo, and it was a desert demo. So it had a bunch of block types desert buildings already built, like prefabs, and I liked their designs, even though they were just like solid color blocks. So I was going to see if we could use some of them as inspiration. And I may have already captured pictures of all these, but I thought I'd just do that real quick. So we have references of my own stuff. Oh yeah, so these are some of the building parts. It's the giant building. Oh yeah, this is one of the. So I created a generation template and I generated this building. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, I must have gotten rid of all of them. That doesn't seem fair. Did I move them out? Let me just check something. Where did I put them? Interesting. Hey, Lando, how's it going? All right. I think they'll be in apps terrain 3. No, we want to be better than that. Ooh. Their assets, models. Yeah, so see here they are. I don't think this demo runs. Didn't we try to run this before and it didn't run? Because that would be easy. I could just snap one big shot of the town. And we'd be done. Oh, so far so good. Woo! So this is one of the early prototypes. And blocks enabled, yes. Let's increase the view radius. Near train enabled. Far train enabled. Yes, this is one of the early prototypes. And fog distance, yeah, you need to, there we go. Yeah, so this is one of like the early prototypes. This is part of the open source stuff. So if you have access to the pre-release open source stuff. Oh yeah. So the we didn't turn on far buildings. Low detailed blocks is what it's called here. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so some of these are dumb structures, but like these kind of, I like, yeah, maybe they're not as good as I remembered. I had limited to, because I only had full blocks for this, but like I liked some of these building styles where it like a combined, like a upstairs and a downstairs. So maybe we'll just kind of snap a view and kind of get the same feel, right? Yes, it's a big town. It was meant to be big town. And in fact, there's one like super far away too, like off in the distance by that other cliff, because then I was flying to and from them at night and stuff. But the idea was this was the early prototype, so I wanted to be able to like quickly fly through everything. Oh yeah, so it's I'm passing the generation. So we got this little market area. Yeah, it's quite big. Oops. Yeah, so I wanted to be sure that I could do it, right? For Mythruna, you have to be able to see this far. And so Mythruna towns could be this big. From a geometry perspective, it's no problem, right? In fact, we're probably not even taxing the system. Oh, I can't. I actually don't remember. Oh, it's probably the regular one. So see, we're still getting like 60 frames a second. And we can see like really far. And so like you can quickly fly through all of these buildings, all that, because we're kind of getting ahead of the pager when we do the super fly. But like regular kind of super fast. Oh, you can, oh, there's like a walk mode. There we go. So you can like run around the town, like super fast run. Anyway, but so yeah, I did a lot of early testing to make sure that you could move around and see all the things. And early testing of some of the fractal stuff too. Yeah, so we're getting a little bit ahead of the generation here. Yeah, so yeah, there's another little town over there. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So this is what I used for my prototype to make sure Mythruna could handle big cities and anything I wanted to throw at it. But now we got like one screenshot we can use. Yeah, we got it way ahead of whatever it was working on. Start, what is it? Yeah. Alright, so now we have like a reference photo of different buildings we can look at for inspiration if I should need it. I actually don't like how squat these are now that I look at them. Which may in the long run help me out. Yeah, because the building that I was working on in the game was also a little short, I think. So let's run blockhead and make some things. That's what we're here for. And I think I might start just making building parts. And we'll see how that goes. And so we'll start, like, we'll look at one of the existing we'll make a part database for desert buildings. So this was a corner, and what I will do to make sure that I don't accidentally overwrite, we'll save it as oh crap, corner door ground. I'm gonna window desert. Well, let's not assume it's desert. Let's call it stucco. Okay, so we've made a new building part, and now I'm going to make it actually look like that. Look like what we want it to. So I'm going to... This will be for... yeah, so how do I want to do this? Yeah, so let's go ahead and grab the... yeah, sorry about bumping the mic there a second ago. Clay, brick, and stucco. So we'll just kind of replace the pieces as we see them. It'll be a good start. It's possible that they could find enough stone. Actually, let's make that just the brick. Let's assume they don't want to live right on the sand floor, right? But this is what I was talking about. One of the quality of life things I'd like to do is be able to add little custom annotations here, because currently I use the fluid blocks to mean something specific with how these things can join up. Like when there's a doorway here and I want to make sure that the block, the tile that generates next to it also has a door, I mark using water or lava that they those two places are required, that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's good. That's good. But I want to be able to have water and stuff in my buildings, you know, in my structures, and so I need to be able to like mark things in general. And it would be also nice to be able to say, you know, like this is a place where a table could go, or this is a place where a chair could go, so that when it's generating the real buildings, it can come back and decide that that's where it can put that sort of thing. Okay, so let's okay, we got one of these. Okay, boink, 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 boink. All right, so we got that, and wrong one. Boink. There we go. I miss in the game, you know, you get the little thing that shows you which orientation your block you have selected. I really miss that in this editor. That'd be another quality of life thing, to have a little picture up here of what the block looks like. Okay, so we've got the basics, and then I think we're gonna make these the cube. And like this. And so if this is the first floor with no roof, this works fine. And let me show you how, if you guys are new to this and don't remember how this all works, let me show you. So we save that. If we go to the parts DB, we should be able to filter on stucco. Oh, rut row. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what I did wrong. I need to. So yeah, I need to come over here, create part. Boink. Oh, shoot. Yeah. So this is where I would use the tags. So let's cancel. I want to see what the tags were before. So yeah, corner, door, ground, window. So we come over here, we say create part, corner, door, ground, window, stucco. See, this is the kind of thing, these tags are what I wish I had in the shape editor. Because then, you know, I could filter on different things like this. So now we can come here, and if we wanted to edit these blocks again, we can come back in and edit them. And so now if we came over here to the floors and we want to make to create a new floor, let's call it, what do we want to call it? Stucco. Let's do 2x2. Stucco 2x2. Tags. Stucco. Okay. Oh, interesting. What did it complain about? Huh. Oh, maybe I'm filtering. I don't know. Can't. No, edit the tags. I want to call it stucco. Okay. Okay, there it goes. So hey, Stoneface, how's it going? So yeah, so then here we can say yes, the block, all that stuff's the same because we've used it. Grid spacing's good. Floor tag rules requires stucco. So now every part that will be in here, and so in here we want to say, I forget. What do you forget? So we'll accept no rotation, and well, it's built on JMonkey engine, but a lot of custom code on top of JMonkey engine. So this is telling us in this particular slot, yeah, I mean, JMonkey engine handles my scene graph and the OpenGL layer, but like all the geometry is generated. The UI is Lemur, which is an open source library built on JMonkey engine, which I also wrote. So I think that this can only, it could be inverted, it could be rotated 90 and mirrored in X. Oh yeah, JMonkey is open source. Yeah, absolutely. It could be, yeah, so these are all the unique possible rotations for a tile. And so these, for a corner, that's the only, I think that's the only way. Yeah, you can have it oriented this way, or you can sort of flip it along this diagonal, right? And so if we set these all up to be their normal thing, so none, and oh yeah, so no, this has got to be rotated 90 or rotated 90 or mirrored in the X, right? So this tile could be rotated 90 degrees, or wait, or rotated wait. Yes, or mirrored in the X, because it's right now, and if it was mirrored in the X, then the corner would be over here. Basically, you want to make sure that, you know, this, if you're looking at it from the top, for this tile, you want to make sure that the corner stays up here, and for this tile, you want to make sure that the corner stays up here. And so these are kind of symbols that are telling you what you're doing, so that that corner is still going to face in the same direction. So you set the rotations up. And so this one can be rotated 180, or it can be, where's the mirror X, mirror Z? Or it's rotate 90, mirror Z, that's what it is. So if you took this and you rotated it 90 degrees, its corner would point up here, but then if you also mirrored it on the z-axis, it would point down here. So we've got all this set. So each of these slots, though, is going to require corner. Okay, as a tag. So let's go ahead and say corner. Okay, down here requires corner. I'm setting all this up so we can easily see. Okay, corner. This is going to be a ground floor, so one of the other tags it requires is ground. In fact, I'm going to make sure that this tag says ground also. Okay. And so now if we want to test the floor, we can see what it would generate. So this is like one combination of that tile arranged in a bunch of different ways to make a building, right? And so we can hit the test floor and it'll randomize things a bunch of different ways. Now it's not very interesting because there's only the one tile or one tile type for this, but even still, you can make some semi-interesting buildings with just, you know, rotation and mirroring of one tile. So it says we add more, this will get more interesting, and then we'll add the ceilings and floors and things. All right. So the next thing we need to do is start making some other parts. So if we come here and let's do this. Let's make a 2-window tile, and we want to make sure that sand means something specific when it's on the ground like this. It means basically don't place other stuff here so that the window can open out into open air. And so now we've got another one. If we create black pipe corner, corner ground, window, stucco. Okay. Okay, so now we've got 2 of them. Yeah, one of them's got a door, one of them doesn't. And so now we can get a little more complicated. So we can say over here, now if we generate, so let's test the floor again. So we should be able to get, yeah, some just plain corners. We didn't, though. We are not getting, yeah, here is one. Yeah, so we got 2 windows here. Now, when we go to turn this into an actual building, that's when we, so let's create desert, let's call it desert 1. Okay, and it will have the one we just created, which is stucco 2x2. I should rename that. So that'll be the first floor. But what we can say is that it will always have. Oh, I have to select the floor guy. So it will always have at least one door, right? It will always have at least one door, and at most 2 doors. Okay. So now, like, never more than 2 doors. And so if we test this building, we should see. So it should always have 1 door, but never more than 2. So if we test the building, 1 door, let's see if we can see it make 2 doors. Anyway, it's random. Interesting that it's never making more. At any rate, so let's make some more types because I want some internal walls as well. Okay, so let's go back to the parts DB. We're going to start with the window. And let's maybe close off one of these. Take this. Actually, we can do brick inside if we want. I wonder, does the brick create cylinders? It does. So we could have like a brick cylinder inside to hold up floor if we want to make things interesting. So that's kind of cool. But for this, I think we will take this, make that like that, and okay, so we've got one that's got like a just a window and a wall. I think I like that, so let's create a part. We'll call it ground corner stucco window. Okay. And so it generated all of the things. And now if we test our building, we get a wall in there. And it, hey, look, check it out. It did 2 doors this time. I think maybe I had to leave and come back. So we've got like walls in there. It should always, so the algorithm is broken, but it's always supposed to make sure that no matter what, things are traversable. So let's test it again. So it should never like put 2 walls in such a way that you can't get through. Yeah, so one door and a wall. Yeah, so it's all good. Yes, the world is procedurally generated. Correct. Anyway, we need to work on a roof now. So we need to work on the roof floor. So at minimum, because we're going to want to cover this. Because while we're making interior blocks, it's kind of convenient that it doesn't have a roof. So maybe we'll just leave that off for a minute. Let me make one more. So I think that's the one we just created. Yeah. So I liked that idea of having a pillar in the middle. And you know what? Maybe not brick, but sandstone. We can start bringing some of the sandstone in. That should have even a narrow cylinder. Perfect. So we have a narrow sandstone cylinder that goes there. Yeah, in fact, I think for these internal structures, maybe they would be wood or sandstone. So I'm trying to decide what I like better for the internal structures. Like whatever this is, it's going to support. It's going to be so that it supports weight above it, right? But anyway, I'm maybe getting ahead of myself. In which case, this should be a beefier cylinder. And probably actually they'd maybe build that up from brick. I try to think of how they'd construct the... So they'd build that up from brick and maybe cover it in stucco and then lay in these stone pieces. And we'll just ignore the fact that we can't see it tie into the wall, but let's just assume it does. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to think of how this will look as we're walking around inside this building, right? We want visual interest, that there's some structure here and it's doing something. I think this is still using the old texture. Anyway, okay, so let's create a part. And I'll leave, yeah, one window, one open, yes, one closed. So yeah, we'll create this part. And we'll call this ground stucco, strucco, corner, that's it, right? Ground stucco corner. Okay. So now if we go back over here, it should, we test the building, we should occasionally get this in there. Yeah, cool. So that might be interesting enough for now. You know, a building with like stuff in it. It's kind of cool. And I think for desert buildings, I like the idea that the stairs are on the outside for some of them. So that'd be kind of cool. Oh, thanks, Ron. Glad you could make it. Okay, so we've got, let's start working on the next level up now. So coming back over here, parse DB. Let's go ahead and edit this guy. So now we're going to be working on a roof piece. And I think for that, what I want to do, let's, first of all, let's transfer our, basically this, they're going to overlap by one, so we want to transfer whatever the top is here into the bottom. Okay, so we've got that. We don't need these anymore because we actually don't care if the, okay, and it's going to be relatively flat, so and this is fine. And then instead of these, we want those to be oh, high wedge, not high wedge. So we don't have a slab up, and that's why I did the other. But in this case, I think we want to allow it. Because of what I want is a slab that's, it's like this is the wrong one. I want one that's up. So I think I might create one. But for now, let's do this. Let's create the part. So we'll call it roof stucco corner. Okay, so now over here in the floor, yeah, so I want to change this name. I wanted to call it ground stucco 2x2. Okay. And so this, did it change the name? Yeah, ground stucco 2x2. Let's change it for a second, then change it back. There we go. Okay. I think the database saves itself automatically, so we're good there. So let's make a new floor. Is there a way I can copy? Yeah, cool. So we'll copy the ground one, copy to roof stucco 2x2. Okay. So it's got all of the same things, except for now, instead of ground as the tag, we want roof as the tag. So it'll only select everything that matches and all those tags. And so now if we test this floor, it's just going to make a big, 2x2 tiled roof. Roof. So let's tag stucco here. And all that's good. It's stucco roof. And for this one, ground stucco. Yeah, so we did. Okay, we're good. And so then over here for our building, we still selected desert one. Yes. So now we can add another floor. Which is the roof stucco. Add. Right. So we need to remove. So I'm going to remove both of these. So ground stucco add, and then roof stucco, add. And so now when we test the building, right, so there's a algorithm that decides which block type is, better than another, and when there's an overlap, and so it might need to be tweaked to make the brick better than the stucco or the stucco better than the brick. The stone is right, because if you've got stone structure in there, you need to maintain it. The problem is, because I didn't have that one block type I wanted. Whoa. Problem is because I tried to jump, and that's the same thing that takes me in and out of the mode. Oh, did we not generate any doors? Oh, right. Because when I took that back out, I lost all of that. Crap. Okay. So now, because that's associated with the building, not this. Anyway, has to have at least one door. It has to have at most 2 doors. Okay, so let's try again. Test the building. Now we should have a door. Okay, so now we can go inside. So this is a simple little building. You come in. I still need to fix these textures. They're awful. But the ceiling is too low for me. That's why I want the high brick slab, which I think I'm going to allow in this case. I think it might be nice to have some adornments on the outside of the building. I also feel like I liked the squat version a little better. Oh, I know what I did wrong. So my intent all the time was to yes. My intent all the time was to do beams for this, but that's not going to work. Because if I do beam down, I need to still do something on the corner. But this will make the building a little lower. So I guess I can put a slab down there. That we do have. Slab down. Okay. So that works. Okay, so I need to save you. Then when we come over here, if we test the roof again, test the floor. Okay, so that's good. Then come over here, test the building. Test the building. Okay, so still looks a little tall for me. Like if you look at these, they were a little more squat, but it works better with the generation geometry, and maybe I'm just being too sensitive. Let's play with the design a little bit. Once you have the thing loaded in here, you can like mess around with it. So let's pretend there is some structure in here that we're going to expose. I kind of hope to keep them away from wood, but maybe they can scrub trees and things. Do a high beam or a low beam? I think low beam. Problem is these guys stick out so far. I need like chopped off versions of them. Oops. Crap. What if we added some like adornments to the windows? Kind of breaks it up a little bit. Oops. I don't hate it, but it seems like a waste of wood though. I'm like always thinking like in-game materials, right? The desert dwellers, what are they building their house out of? But realistically, there's some kind of wood structure in here. I have my the awning that I'm playing with that are not quite ready for prime time. But we could have, you know, little... Actually, that looks really nice. Okay, so when... I mean, the problem is, like, the sides are not right yet. I haven't hooked up anything properly to the sides, but... that's, like, totally appropriate architecture. Should we have one over the door, too? Maybe a wider one over the door. And then if we're going to have one, we could have... Clearly they've got some wood, so they could have sticks. I always pick the wrong particular rotation. So we could... Like, I don't know. I think that looks better, to be honest. And we could have variants with and without the awnings. So let's go with that. Which means I for sure have to finish the awnings if we're going to build those into the block, to the prefabs. Okay, so now we know kind of what we want to do. Let's go back, and we can edit these. And so we can have one of these... Yeah, abandon the current changes. We can make another one. So we can leave the original. Oops. Oh, yeah, I'm not over here. The rotation doesn't work. Alright, so we can leave the original and make a version that's got the awnings. Oh, that's a cube there. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Actually, let's do corners here. Yep, exactly. Yep. Agreed. Actually, I kind of feel like these corner posts looked better when it extended out. Otherwise, they look a little too flush, but this, for some reason, looks better to me. Okay, so let's give the window 1, 2. And so we'll create a part from this. We'll give it all the same tags: ground, stucco, window, door. Okay. And so now if we come over here and we generate our test our building, sometimes we should get test the building. Oh no, it's not working. Why though? Did I leave out a tag? Corner. I left out the corner. Add tags. Corner. Okay. Now come over here. Test the building. Yeah, okay, so sometimes we'll get those. Sometimes we'll get regular doors. I'm going to do the same thing, same treatment to the windows. I think the awnings look okay occasionally, right? I mean, it'd be nice to have them always, but realistically, and it breaks up visually to have some windows have it and some windows not. And so we will run with that. And so if we have this ground stucco window, and we will create one with an awning there. Create the part, ground, corner, stucco, window. Okay. And then, that's annoying. I couldn't figure out the, okay, so now we have one with two. So we'll create that part, ground, stucco, corner, window. Okay, so we've got all combinations of those. And then because of the flips and rotations and stuff, it works out. You have to trust me. Edit blocks. Okay, so we'll create one of these. Are there any entities in the game? Yes, but maybe we need to drill in a little deeper to the question to figure out what, if you mean what I'm answering. I know that's a weird way to say it, but yeah, like you, the player is an entity, the objects you create are entities. The butterflies and NPCs and all that stuff are entities. Corner, ground, window, stucco. Okie doke. Alright, so now we should be able to test. Okay, we got that. Okay, we got a window over here on its own. Yeah, like NPCs. Yeah, because right now every town, right now every town generates one NPC that can give you a simple fetch quest, just to, sort of make that. I had to add a bunch of things to make that work. So every town will have at least one NPC in it. We'll just have one NPC in it. And sometimes that NPC will have pets, like either a dog or a Gafen, which is kind of like a cross between a chicken and a duck and a goose and a penguin. And then and there's so one or two of those for the NPC, and all the NPCs have random clothing because you can create your own clothes in the game, and so there's a bunch of default random clothing. But yeah, and the dog in the game is my doggy who passed away last June. So it's kind of bittersweet for me to see her running around in the game, but so it's cool. Okay, so we've got a pretty decent little one-story building that we can they don't randomly generate in the game. Usually I create a couple samples and stick them in. So we've got a good decent one there. I want to kind of work on a 2-level building. Question is, do we try to see this in the game, or do we work on a 2-level building? The other thing is I want to add at least minimum lighting. It's going to be a little tricky now that I've covered the doorway with stuff. Maybe inside the doorway. So let's go over here. Door. Edit blocks. Okay, so let's put. Oh, I see inside the doorway is a problem too because this is not the right geometry for that. So this door with no awning, I can put a lantern out. So let's put a light, a lantern. Yep, just like that. Oh, that's interesting that the normal map is coming through. Yeah, so when there's no awning, we'll put both. And save. Okay, back to here. Alright, edit blocks. So here's the problem. I can put them on the corners of the wood, or I could put that over here. But I can't put them here now because there's posts here. and I can't put them inside. Although I could, again, like I did for there. No, I can't. Like I have other. See, what did I create? I created lantern center liner up. I guess I could put one on the roof, but it kind of sticks out then. Maybe that doesn't look too bad. Let's try it. Okay, so we'll save. Okay, let's test our building again. Test building. Okay, so we got a little bit of light there. I think maybe when the windows don't have awnings, I don't know. Okay, we'll see how it looks in game. But I'm not entirely happy with this. Yeah, not entirely happy. We could, the other thing we could do, what if they had like these? No, see, why would you do that? You could just create an awning. Yeah, I think I need to have like short, sawn off beams that we can have like sticking through. That would like create the right aesthetic. I just don't like the way they look when they stick really, really far out. And I've for a long time wanted so let's say you had, structural elements poking out. Right, they're just a little too long. Thanks, Max. I just think they're a little too long. Like if they were, half a block, that'd be one thing. But okay, so we'll save what we got. Let's see. Do we like this one? Let me generate a couple more and see if there's one I like better. Okay, so that one's got one door and some awnings. I don't know. Am I happy with this? I'm okay with that. No. So see, I have the option to correct design issues before I save them because the generation is not really used. So if I don't like, if the generation is close but I don't really like the aesthetic 100%, I can come in and I can tweak it because we're going to be saving these. So let's say one side of the building has awnings for whatever reason. Okay, so we'll save this as desert building 1. Okay, let's generate a couple more. Okay, this one looks like it has no awnings at all, which I'm okay with. Cool, yeah, yes. So we'll save this one as desert building 2. And let's create one more. Okay, so this one has a doorway with awnings, so let's give it awnings all the way around. Yeah, and it has one whole wall with no windows at all. That's kind of cool. So let's save as building 3. Okay, so we've got some one-story buildings, and let's then try to use them. That's bright. So what do I have to do? I have to copy, let's see, dir, source main resources, models, buildings, poise. That. So And I want to stress again, this is not how that's not how it's eventually supposed to work. It's just how I'm doing it right now. Desert building startup blocks to source main resources models poise. Okay, cool. Where get the blockhead plus tool to make own props? So you can, for Mythruna, you can actually make the things right in the game. But and Mythruna includes the block editor for making blocks files. It's just not trivial to incorporate them. But the open source stuff that's available pre-release to patrons, it has the regular block editor with the generic block set that I used to make the buildings in that picture that I just closed. Yeah, so all these were all block objects that I made in that block editor tool. I don't know if that answers your question. So let me mess with the generator real quick. We should be able to come in here and say, so there's different terrain types here, or different sort of town biome. So there's the desert, and so down here for desert temple, well, that's fine. I'm eventually going to replace all the, even the airport I'm going to replace, because it just seems like wood would be scarce in a desert. You wouldn't just use it. Small pieces of wood, but big giant wood structures, probably not. So I'll create different versions of all of these. And so for every one of these, for building one, if it's in the desert, for now, we'll say desert building 1, desert building 2, and desert building 3. Yeah, so there's only one. So let me undo this real quick. I want to see what these buildings are that I'm replacing. Come on. So I'm going to run the block editor. I'm going to see what I'm. Yeah, I see. I think these are the short, squat buildings. I don't want to replace those yet. So let's just see. Run block ed. We're going to load these and see what they are. So I eventually want to map different well in the desert. Probably you don't care if it's got the roof over it kind of thing. Okay, so let's look at our test buildings. So test building 8. Yeah, so that's the score. I'll make a desert version of this. But I'm not going to replace that. So then B is the other version of that one. So they sit in the ground. So we'll leave those. Test building 1 and test building 2. Okay, that's a big, fairly big building. So when I have 2-story buildings, that's the one I'll have to replace. So this is the single-story buildings. So test building 3, which they don't use at all in the desert town, it looks like. Yeah, oh, down here. That's for the farm. Okay. So it didn't even use these anyway. Test building 4 should be another 1-story building. Yeah, test building 5. Ooh, big one. Test building 6, another big one, 3-story. Test building 7, cottage. Okay, so we definitely don't want test building 7. For now, I'm just going to replace everything but the 8A and the 8B. So we'll just Building 3 are the big giant ones. Let's leave those for now. And so if... Oh, so farm 1 uses that. So let's let farm 2 use these for now. And we'll keep large farmhouse blocks. We're going to need to make warehouses, desert versions of the warehouses. And probably a desert warehouse is going to be dug into the ground, I imagine. Alright, so now that we've done that, I think there's one other thing I need to do, which is, yeah, I need to add them here. And I think that I'm pretty sure I can just keep adding them here. So let me pick one of these. Just pick one that's already got the numbers we want. Do not edit. Yeah, this is not very well set up at the moment. I guess I could leave the comma there, it doesn't matter. So desert building 1. So there's several layers of indirection. So when the large scale world is generated, generates a town, and when the town is generated, it populates it with just general building 1, building 2, building 3. And then based on the biome of the area, those resolve to specific types of buildings randomly, and that's where this is mapped. And this is not at all the way it'll really work, because eventually this test poi tile function will be replaced with, oh, I need to generate a building, a farm 1, that, so then I load this building generator, which generates farm 1s kind of thing. Okay, so now if we dir worlds, let's remove the terrain from the world we were messing with. Worlds, desert, 2145 worlds slash terrain tile db, sure. Terrain, world db, yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so now when we run, and I'm going to create a new character just in case we need to spawn in order for the world to generate correctly. I'm not entirely sure that's... When you generate a seed, no matter where you are, it's supposed to generate the same towns and everything for a particular seed, but I'm not 100% sure it's not order dependent. Like if you were already somewhere else in the world, would it generate the same way? And since I really, really, really want that town to be there, we'll make sure to create a new character that spawns, and then we'll warp over there again. Plus that'll give it a little time to generate, because it's got to generate the whole world from scratch. So have you all done anything interesting this week? Any creative projects you've got going on that are going well or kicking your butt? Hopefully everything's working smoothly. Oh, we wanted to make a new character. I forgot. Let's make an elf this time. Well, a Godwin. Females, why not? So, Kara. Yep, I like her hair already, but she's gonna be a desert dweller. We need her to be a little maybe darker skinned. Okay. And I'm gonna leave her in the shorts until I can put her in something else, but I'm gonna give her the high boots. And She would probably wear leather bracers, sure. That fits her outfit the best. I think I only have the one necklace. Oh, there's the chain pendant, so sure, she wears a chain pendant. So yeah, that's not bad. Save and continue. Yes, play as Kara. Kara with a K. Alrighty. I am experiencing portal blindness. Ooh, my goodness. It's actively generating a whole bunch of crap right now. Yeah, perhaps this is a problem. I mean, part of it's that I'm on the live stream, so I don't know if my CPU meter shows up there, but it's like 100% pegged. So anyway, let's let this finish loading. It's like watching paint dry. Hey, we're starting to get like nearby terrain at least. I can see a little bit. Oh, it's nighttime. Oh yeah, it's because the we've still got the same entity database we did before, but it's a new world. So time is kept in the entity database. So we regenerated all the terrain, but the time stayed where it was. Persisted where it was. Time is going to be a commodity in the game, so it's important to keep it straight. Like your age is going to matter, and how young and how old you are, and perhaps the ability to roll back your age and things. It's all going to matter. Okay, so map. Okay, so let's warp back to where we were. I should have made it a public waypoint. Minus 39262 minus 31325. 31325. Joink. Let's watch us jump. Generate a whole bunch of new terrain. Yeah, so we were over here. And now we're over here. We'll be able to see all this go in. I drank a lot of water today, so now I need to go to the bathroom, but I hope you guys are still here. YouTube is telling me it's not receiving enough information. Chat's real quiet. Hopefully you guys are still here. Oh yeah, so this is the debug stuff that says the NPC in this town has 3 pets. So if we find that NPC, she'll have 3 pets. You know, Stoneface was asking about that earlier. So let's see if we can find... Okay, so we did get some desert buildings generated. So let's go check them out real quick. Let me roll at least the visible time forward a little bit and pause it so we can see what we're doing. Yeah, so see, I need to come back and fix these, the sides of this and the bottom, because it's supposed to be hollow inside. It's supposed to be more like the thatch blocks, where you can like see underneath it. Which is also going to make it, that lantern I hung, weird. So maybe yeah, so we've got a thatch building, and it's weird that the normal map is not supposed to show through the... Yeah, in fact, it seems to be ignoring the normal map from the... Yeah, so when we ported the stuff over to the real... I mean, it's kind of cool a little bit, but that's not the way it's supposed to work. These are supposed to be thick layers of plaster. But anyway, the building's working. 9 watching says mine. Yeah, so does mine. My little thing down here says 9. Cool. So I guess it's all still working. So yeah, I gotta fix the normal maps. Although it is pulling in some of it. Like we're getting like a mixture of the normal maps. That's kind of... I know why that's happening. I think I know why that's happening. Anyway, so I can fix that. Let's go find the NPC in the town and see what her pets are. Or his pets are. There they are. Is it a him or a her? And he's got a doggy. It's a him, and he's got a doggy and 2 Gafen. And the doggy's chasing the Gafen. Hi, I'm Kara. Nice to meet you, Kara. See you later. Oh, there are no points of interest around. There are no nearby points of interest. So this NPC did not generate a quest. So yeah, within a certain range of this town, like if we enable the markers cheat. It says there's a spirit hinge. He should have sent us to the spirit hinge. As an admin, can I get him to regenerate his... Generate quest. Let's see, did you generate a quest? What kind of trouble? I was foraging in the area northwest of town when I tripped and then tossed the axe in frustration. You should work on your anger issues. I remember I had some plowed rows of dirt and probably less than a kilometer from here. I don't know when I'll be able to make it back that way. I could try to find it for you. Cool. Let me know when you found it. Yes. So why didn't he generate a quest? Okay, so there it is. It's over. It's actually over near the large farm. So we disable the marker cheats again. Yeah. So over near the large farm, there's a quest for us if we want to go over and do it. But yeah, maybe we will, because like we've got nothing better to do. I don't have time to generate another set of buildings before. Yeah, it's looking good. I want 2-story buildings, partially 2-story, like with the, kind of this look, right, where there's like a building that intersects another building, or that has like a roof you can go out onto, kind of 2-story, and then some plain 2-story buildings like this. So generate a couple different. I'll make a couple different building types, but this is a good start. Do you want to go on a quest with me? Let's pretend like it is actually daytime. So what time is it? Okay, realistically, it is the middle of the night. Oh, there is a moon gate. So that's one benefit to walking around at night, is that you can see things like that from a distance. At least I'm pretty sure that's a moon gate. Let's go check it out. Is that bright enough that you guys can see it? Because I can artificially roll the daylight forward and it'll still be nighttime as far as the game's concerned. So if YouTube is making this look awful, let me know. But I think, yeah, so we don't even have much moon, so there's not much moonlight either. It's just we're in the desert, so things are kind of bright. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is a moon gate. So we can start plotting out a basic moon gate network. Yeah, that's definitely spirit temple. Right next to cliffs. Maybe. No, I guess it's just a regular dune. So let's run over. So you can barely see it. Should I run time forward? Let me run time forward a little bit. So let's pretend it's... Okay, so let's run time forward so you can see. Hopefully that's better. It's just at night I could see the glow of the both the flowers, the glowing flowers. So let's let me fast run real quick. Okay, so there's the spirit temple. It should be activated. Yep, check it out. Oh boy. Yeah, it's having to generate like some faraway stuff in order to fully map the portals. So you get this lag here. Yeah, see, it's generating. There are some. This particular portal will take us far away because it's having to generate far away land. When it's talking about point of interest generation, that's beyond the edges of the normal 16 kilometers. So interesting. And it's not letting me close the map, so hold on a second, guys. Okay. Ah, no, it went away. Oh no, it's still here. Or did time advance far enough that it stopped again? Oh no, the moon's not bright enough. So let's let me reset time. So we resume reset time. Oh no, it's dawn. Okay, so let's roll time forward 18 hours. 18 should be good, right? Whoops. Oh yeah. Time 18 hours. Nope. So it's gonna roll time forward to nighttime again. And is there enough of a moon to cause... Yeah, so we're still kind of catching up to where I told it to go. And no moon gate. Interesting. But I think that's because there's no moon. So let us... Also, that ran us where game time is like 2 a.m. So let's run it forward. I think I can say 5 days and 20 hours. Is that going to let me do that? It will. Look at that. Look at the time roll by. Shoo. I love that effect. It's so cool. Oh yeah, like we got oh yeah, okay. So yeah, we've definitely got a moon in the sky now because the spirit portal's working. Okay, so there, yep, so we've got enough of a moon. That's the other thing, so the moon controls the moon gates. That's why they're called moon gates. Why didn't you open the dead portals? Are there no portals? That could be it too. Like, there could be no nearby moon gates. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I don't know if there are any nearby moon gates. That's too bad. We wasted a lot of time messing with this if that's true. But that's why it was generating terrain so far away. It was trying to find another moon gate to take us to. Yeah, so enable the markers cheat. Man, there are spirit hinges all over the place here. It should be able to take us to let's see, there's 3 even within here, so I don't know what's wrong. Yeah, something's busted here. That's unfortunate. Alright, let's go do the quest then. Let me roll time forward again a little bit. Okay, let's go back into her body. And where's the quest? It's directly west of here. So if you guys find when you're exploring a world that the moon gate similarly doesn't work, it's supposed to open portals. Ooh, what's that? That's a village. Okay. Okay, we're supposed to go over here to this farm. I bet it's at this farm. If you guys find that the spirit portals don't work, if you could make a note of the location and your world seed. If you have this debug HUD up, it'll tell you what the world seed is right here, and you can get your location. Or you can just take a screenshot with the debug HUD up, which is F9. Opens that if it's not already open. And send it to me, in Discord or whatever. Okay, so let's super run. So we'll finish this quest out for that NPC. Super running really hurts the engine though. Almost as much as warping does. Okay, so let's just super run. Whoa, I just ran through a bird. Alright, yeah, so nothing's growing here. I need to make a desert version of the farmhouse. Probably it's going to have some way of catching water. I'm thinking that yeah, there's nothing flat for me to stand on. Oh, here's so I'm thinking of like tall stone towers that can catch moisture from the air, as the breezes blow by and so on and so forth. They'll capture whatever moisture they can capture from the air and fill a underground spring. Okay, so somewhere around here, she was near the house, or he was near the house. No. Yeah, so right now, the thing you're supposed to pick up will be right in the center of this circle. Eventually, that's not going to be the case, but for finding things, especially when there's actually corn growing, that'll be a big deal. So it's got to be around here somewhere. Yep, somewhere. There it is. So we can pick up the axe. And so if we look in our inventory, it's going to be sitting there on top of something else. Yeah, so we need to... So now we've got... yeah, so if we look at it, it'll tell us this was the so-and-so's axe. So now we can head back to town, which was in which direction? Do you guys remember? Never mind, I got the map. This way. So a simple fetch quest to make us go to the different points of interest around. It's really a shame though. Eventually those NPCs, now that you guys are still here and it's almost the end of the stream, eventually those are the NPCs that will, as your quest reward, will like tell you about potential other interesting points of interest. Or if they don't know of a local point of interest, they may direct you to another town where there is one. Basically, they're all going to be the ones that might hint to you about the moon gates, because they're going to be tricky to find. So this NPC in particular could probably tell me about 2 different moon gates. Oh, there's the town right there. So this dude wasn't very far from the town at all. So let's go find him again. Oh, and if you hit J, you can open up your journal and you can look at the quest, and it'll say, yeah, he's lost his axe and has to find it. And you can cheat and just teleport right back to him, because I use that for testing. That's not always going to be the case. Okay, so if we come and talk to him, hey man, stop, look at me. Yeah, I found your item. Thanks for bringing it back. Okay, so we've completed that quest. If we go in here, it won't show up in our journal anymore. And then, yay, we did a quest. I'm just really disappointed that spirit temple didn't work. It's so close to this town. Ah, man. I'm gonna go check it out again. Okay, so now, anyway. I'll go check it out again one more time, just in case approaching it again resets it. But I feel like it had a problem finding the other ends of the portals. So let's check it out. You see, this isn't the real time of day, so let's see what the real time of day is, because yeah, so now we're really at dawn. We're at the time where the portal's disappearing anyway. So I'm gonna have to run time ahead again. Alright, so let's jump up here. I just love the way the deserts look at night, guys, or like right at dawn and sunset. I just think that's really cool. I need to make sure not to screw with that aesthetic, because that's really nice. So, oops, wrong. There we go. Time. Let's roll it forward 18 hours. Shoop. Okay, so like time changes instantly, but our view of time tweens. And so now it is midnight, just a little after midnight. Maybe because it was not active. That's what I'm thinking, but it's not supposed to work that way. There they go. Okay, so now they're dead. Now it's trying to... Yeah, so some of these will work right away, so that's cool. So here's my strategy for dealing with these. Let's first of all turn off the debug. So my strategy is I'll place a marker. So you click the marker and you left click right on top of yourself. And, you know, I use the little hinge thing. I call it Moon Gate. And we gotta hurry because it's already 2 a.m. And then I give it a pin size of something that I can actually see. So that's all good. And then I look. So I make a line in the direction that I'm facing. Left click and drag. You know, so there's a portal in that direction. There's a portal in this direction, because it's roughly going to take you to a gate in that direction. So there's one straight south, and there's one in this direction. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to take the one... Let's take the one that takes us back to spawn, which is... Which way? This way. Okay, so let's walk through this portal. Boink! Okay, so we get to this portal, and I'll jump up on top of it for a second. That's where we came from, most likely. And so now, if we open up this map, we can drop another marker on ourselves, right? It's already set up, so we've got that marker, and we can zoom out and see if we can find the other end of our... Oh, we teleported a long way. Nope, there it is. Okay, so with the line selected, we ought to be able to come up here. Oh, man. So we're a little too... Oh, there it goes. Nope, that's the wrong one. There's a sorting problem with the labels. And so that marker... Oh, no, there it goes. Okay. So when you're hovering over it, you can right-click and you can drag this down to you so that you can say, okay, now I know there's this connection between this portal and that portal. The problem is it was generating, and so the game runs slow, and it wasn't picking up my click. And so from here, then you can say, okay, we know where that one goes. We've got one. Oops, we've got one that goes in this direction. Oops, it didn't. Yeah, so see, it's like very laggy at the moment. There's a lot of UI stuff going on. So we can drag these out. And so this is how I build my map of the portal network. There we go. Okay, so we're kind of at a corner in the network. We've only got these 3 things. And that's really because we're basically hitting into ocean. And so we could head down here, and actually this is cool. It'll take us down closer to one that's... So let's jump in here while we still can. Because at dawn, yep, they're about to go away. It may not be as easy to teleport in the future. You may have to have some special item or ingredient to do this because it really taxes the heck out of the engine to be jumping from portal to portal. And I kind of like the idea that you would have to explore the area you're in before moving on. But anyway, for now you can jump all over, and it's really messing with memory and things. Anyway, marker. Place the marker here. Yes. And we're really close to this town. Man, they can see. This town probably would be named after the moon gate. It's so close. Okay, so we'll do that. We don't... Yeah, it's dawn now, so... Man, we're still experiencing... Yeah, because it's still generating. But we are really close to a town. Which direction was that in again? This way. Okay, so let's start walking, even though we've still got that portal blindness going on. It's a cardinal. Hey, cardinal. Okay, portal blindness is almost gone. Start walking towards this town. You know what I should... This is the 3rd moon gate we visited, I think. Oops. No, I want to say mark. Moon gate 3. There we go. So we're near that moon gate. That's good. Okay, so let's head over to this town. Well, the other thing is when you moongate into somewhere, you don't really know what it's going to be like there. Yeah, the town's just over here. So you may warp into something that's... so this NPC is going to have 2 pets. I can tell you that right now. You could be warping into a bad situation, basically. Especially with the spirit magic that lives around, that's powers those moon gates. Going to attract some potentially harmful things. So that, I guess in the long run, that may be enough of a deterrent for people not to overly use the moon gate network, or at least when exploring. Go someplace, you have to fight the bad guys there. Okay, so this town... I wonder if the building placement... Hey, there's one with awnings over here. Because I'm wondering if this is actually... Is this a desert town? I made a little test command. Moderate, but I guess... Yeah, so it may be based on the specific location of the building, which is kind of cool, which means you could have towns that are part one and part the other. So let's check in here. Poi. Yeah, so here is a desert. Yeah. So yeah, we're right on the edge of the desert, so some of the buildings are desert buildings and some of the buildings are more temperate. That's cool. I like that. That's okay. I think ultimately the towns will be made of the materials that are nearby. Like these, the way I'm doing these buildings right now is not the way the final version will be, and so some of the materials will be swappable based on what the local materials are. So if you have a dark granite quarry versus a stone quarry, that may change what some of these materials are, because if you don't have a stone quarry nearby, you're probably not going to be building things out of regular stone. Hey, it's a doggy! Doggy doesn't see me. I'll sneak up on the doggy. Hey, doggy! Hello! Hello. Pet the doggy. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. Yeah. You're a good girl. You gonna follow me around now? Yep. Yeah. I don't have any treats. Hey, what's your name? You look similarly dressed to the other guy. Hi, I'm Kara. Oh, you said something about some trouble? Old stone burial cairn. So anyway, yeah, you can collect these quests and try to find what they're doing. Oh, we were stuck for a second. Yeah, so cool. All right, guys, I think that's where I'm going to end it. But yeah, it's kind of cool. We found another half desert town. I'm going to call it Mark Half Desert One, because that's a cool. This will be a cool way to test some things too, like that the buildings continue to fit in with the other ones. Also, I feel like these need a way up to the roof, but that'll probably be an object. Yeah, so most of you guys probably already know you can make your own stuff. So you could come in here and you can make a, if you wanted to, you could make a ladder. So like we could have post. Let's make it carved. Let's call it a ladder. Okay, so we make it like oops, I'm gonna make it as tall as I can. Yep, that's as tall as I can make it. Oh yeah, I'm still... Alright, so now we want to... I think the typical ladder goes like this, right? We make it really narrow. And then we need... Is it high beam? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so that's a problem. So we'll just do that. We'll chop the top off. That'll be our ladder. Save the blueprint. Come over here, use our object wand. And there's our ladder. So we'll make a ladder right there. Oh, yep. Make a ladder up there too. Okay. Yeah, so laggy with the live stream. I can barely drag this. There we go. Oh, yeah. So let's hit X so that I'm walking instead of running all the time. There we go. Close enough. For some reason it's not. I think it's because it thinks it's still in the wall. That's why they're lit different. Anyway, so we have a ladder there. It's not functional, but it looks right now. That person could get up on top of their roof if they wanted to. We could make it static. Make it solid. Make it solid. Yeah. Yeah. So we can kind of like run up it. So we got that. So let's do this. For those of you who didn't know that you can do this, so let's place a chair. Oh wait, no, that's not what I want to do. So let's place a chair like right on the edge here. Another chair right here, right on the edge here. And let's do the, oh yeah, desk will be fun. So let's, oh man, cancel. So let's rotate the desk so it's hanging off the edge. Okay. So those, like, they're holograms right now. You can walk right through them. But if we make them physical, so let's make you, that's gonna look cool. Okay, so make you physical. And it falls off, yay. Make physical, falls off, rolls down the, make physical. Yay. And we should still be able, okay, so this one doesn't have the drawers. Yeah, so it doesn't have the, but we can like run into things and kick them around. All right. So that's the live stream. I think that's where I'm going to stop it. You can see it's like getting there, right? I don't think any of this is going to be done in time for a release at the end of the month. And like I said, I'm going on vacation the very next day, so I'll be packing on the 31st. But when I get back, by the way, if any of you live in the Virginia area or Williamsburg or going to be in the Williamsburg area, August 1st through August 7th, I'll be down there. I don't think I have any Mythruna t-shirts anymore that I can wear. But usually for one day I try to wear a Mythruna t-shirt in case anybody notices. All right then. Let's exit out of here. Let's bring up the thing with the stuff. And say, let's go ahead and click over to the thanks screen. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like it, comment, subscribe. Liking and commenting certainly makes YouTube happy, and then they'll more likely to show my video to someone else. So definitely do that. And if you haven't downloaded the game, download and give it a try. And then in the game, there's the link to the Discord, so you can join the Discord and chat with us there, report bugs and so on. And if you try the game, I hope you have fun with it. I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a productive week.